N4R.
Hello CQ, calling CQ the old friends net. It's 4 p.m. Welcome to the new time change. And we will also listen at 5 o'clock just to be sure we've got everybody checked in. But the old friends net is an amplitude modulation net. And we welcome anybody that can generate an amplitude modulation signal. We love to hear your old vintage equipment. We'd like to hear what you're running and how many tubes it's got, and if it's keeping the shack good and warm for you. We meet here every Sunday at 4 p.m. and on Tuesday and Thursday at 8 a.m. in the mornings on 3715. So those wishing to check in, please call now.
Good afternoon, Steve, WA4LLR.
WS2U. KN4R.
WB4NKL.
K1BBC. November 4, Alpha Kilo.
W4MEC.
WA4FJQ.
All right, very good. Here's what I've got so far. WA4LLR, WF2U, KN4R, WB4NKL, K1VVC, N4AK, W4MEC, and WA4FJQ. Do we have any more check-ins? All right, once 5 o'clock gets here, we can listen again to be sure we've got every opportunity given that we can get everybody in here. And I think things will be real good here at 4 o'clock. I do hear a lot of static from thunderstorms, some from down south in Alabama and Florida, and then over on the coast out in the Atlantic Ocean. I am running the Amico TX86 and the AL82 amp, about 275 watts. The antenna, the horizontal loop antenna, and listening on the Drake 2A. And it looks like it's going to cool off tonight, get down to the mid-30s, and be only up to 42. But right now, it is exactly 67 degrees, and it feels great out there in the sunshine. A little bit of wind. So, Dave, I'll give it to you first, and then it goes to F2U, and then the 4R, NKL, BVC, AK, MEC, and then FJQ, WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Okay, Steve, fine business. N4LQ. And the old friends, WA4LLR. Well, good afternoon to everybody. Good signal so far. We've got about 54 degrees, cloudy skies. Had a beautiful Sunday up until around 2:30, 3 o'clock, and the clouds started rolling in. And it looks like we're going to get some weather out of this situation. I'm hearing all kinds of, I'm hoping exaggerated forecasts about the snow, but they're saying tonight a low of 24 with snow flurries. Tomorrow a high of 27 and snow flurries, and a low of 18 tomorrow night. And we got some pretty good wind coming in with it, they say. So I guess it's time. Anyway, we're running a little different today. The Viking Valiant receiving on the S-76 helicopter and looking at everybody's big signal on the big S meter. So, Mayor, here it comes. Good to see you at the lunch. WF2U, WA4LLR.
Roger, WA4LLR and the net. This is WF2U. Good afternoon, everyone. And the sun is still shining here, partly cloudy. 70 degrees here, but it's going to go down. Also, going to be in the about 30, 28 to 30, I think. And good signals all around. Steve, you are 20 over 9, and it's just about all my S meter can give. I think I have to just kind of adjust the sensitivity, but I know that it's a little stingy. Dave, you are 15 over 9. The Valiant is doing a good job, and I'll give reports later. I was just busy with checking the SWR and whatever, so I didn't look at the S meter. Running the Yaesu setup, the FR101 receiver, FT101, FL101 transmitter, and the transmitter is driving the Yaesu FL2100B linear to about 320 watts out. So, and the antenna is the end-fed halfway for 80 meters in its regular place, about 40 feet high. The one that I just hugged 2 weeks ago. So with that, it goes to Brian, KN4R, and the group WF2U.
Okay, Mayor. Very good. WF2U. And the Sunday old friends, Brian, KN4R. Sunny and windy and 72 degrees. I was just outside blowing leaves with the wind and unhooking some garden hoses and closing a few of the vents underneath the house and all that sort of stuff. But it's beautiful, and it'll be interesting to see how chilly it gets tonight and I guess tomorrow night as well. But everybody's sounding good. We've got some real slow QSB happening. And the band's pretty quiet except for that off-distance static every once in a while. Steve, your TX86 sounds good. Dave, your Valiant sounds good. Mayor, of course, you sound good. And Tom, FJQ, is again the channel master over here. He's just booming in here. I'm on the GRC9 running 60 watts to an end-fed halfway. So over to you, Cliff, WB4NKL in the group, KN4R.
KN4R, it's WB4NKL. Okay, Brian, the GRC setup sounding good. Got 55 degrees here and windy, and like Dave said, it's going to be a cool night and 30 degrees for a high tomorrow, so not looking forward to that. Snow flurries. Hope that the snow don't melt too much. I come down with a cold there Thursday morning, got up with it, and so I didn't make the old friends luncheon, and I didn't make the railroad breakfast either one. So I need to get a report on how the luncheon went there Thursday, and the parking lot ham fest. Running the BC610E here with the 2A receiver. I don't know how many tubes is in that system there altogether. A bunch of tubes there, Steve. And the TX86 is sounding good here also. Good signals all the way around. Good copy on everybody. So I'll send it on to John, K1VVC. It's WB4NKL.
Yeah, very good, Cliff. WB4NKL in the group. K1VVC. Good to hear everybody's signals are good. And it's nice to be back at the 4 o'clock time. Mostly because I think by 5 o'clock the band's going to stretch out quite a bit. Had a nice time at the luncheon. We had a good turnout. And just a quick little story. After lunch, I had to go over to Sam's to pick up a few things. And who did I run into at Sam's? None other than Marvin, N4NY. And he wasn't able to go to lunch. He was tied up getting some work done in his car. But he was fine. We had a nice little chat. And hopefully he'll make it to the next luncheon. But it was definitely good to see him. I know several of you were asking about how he was doing. Well, he's doing okay. Over to you, Glenn, N4AK, K1VVC.
Okay, John, and the old friends group. Kilo. Temperature over here at sunset is about 66 degrees. It's been really windy. And the leaves are really blowing off. My lawn was covered in the driveway, so I just got back in from blowing leaves off so I can see the lawn. And I'm sure I'll have to do it again in 2 or 3 days, but that's okay. The leaves are still absolutely beautiful here in the sunset area. We still got a lot of them on some of the trees, particularly the Japanese maples. On the FTDX-10, the famous G5 RV antenna, SV200, which is my vintage rig today. Built it in 1965 when I was in Germany. So if I remember correctly, it's 2 tubes. So, Brian, I was also out draining the hoses of the water and putting some in the garage and turning off water to my barn, just in case. So Charlie to you, W4MEC N4AK.
Okay, Glenn, N4AK in the group. W4MEC, real good. Good signals all around. And the 4 o'clock time, I guess, is going to work out. That was John was asking me about something in an email, and he said, wondered about going back to 4, and I said, I don't know, let me ask. So I sent it out to everybody, and just about everybody came back and said, sounds good. So probably got a couple folks that haven't checked the email yet. I know Buddy probably hasn't, so he'll show up around 5 o'clock, probably be mad at us, but that's okay. 1 or 2 others. But, good signals here. We've got 62 degrees here, and forgot to look up. Sun's out. Looks like it's clear to me, so maybe this storm is going to stay north of us. My wife was telling me that Burnsville was supposed to get snow tonight, but flurries here on Tuesday maybe, if the weatherman is anyway accurate. But yeah, I got one hose I need to uncoil there and get the nozzle off the end and let it drain out. And yeah, good idea about closing the vents. I gotta go close a couple of them. I'll do that after the net here. And yeah, I forgot to send out a lunch report there, Cliff. I only took 1 picture or 2 pictures. I forgot to take some outside at the Hamfest. Some gear changed hands. George convinced everybody to buy what he brought, and I picked up the darn 110 from him, the HQ 110. Richard Cash got the NC 300, and I think I got the BC 342. That was a gift, so that's sitting here too. I got to take a look at that.
Phil brought some gear, odds and ends, and let's see what else. I can't remember what else was out there. I got a little power supply from him that was for a CB set. A little AC supply that's with a sloping top, so you could put a mobile rig on the top to it there. And I actually got it because I've got an old, who made that thing? Shoot. An old CB, I have to think of it in a minute. But anyway, what was unique about it is it's got a tunable weather radio in it. I thought that was kind of cool, so I wanted to get that thing to work there just for the novelty of a weather radio and a CB rig there. Anyway, I'll think of the name of that thing in a minute here. But it's on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, let's see. Courier, that's what it is. Courier. It's a little solid state Courier mobile rig with a tunable weather radio. So over to Tom there. WA4FJQ, W4MEC.
W4MEC, WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Charlie. Well, I'm copying everybody, but Glenn N4AK. I know he's there, but I can't read him. But a lot of QSB here in High Point and an awful lot of noise, but that's just typical for this location, I guess. That's the way it's going to be. So, at any rate, whatever. But I can copy pretty well. The rig is the AF68 multi-LMAC, and the receiver PMR8, and the amplifier is the Centurion, running about 250 watts, so about 1,000 on peaks, I guess. And I'm going to hang in there and see if I can copy all the way through, but may not, and if not, I'll sign on the next go-around. So let me turn it back up to Steve. Steve, you win the Cupid doll. You're really strong here, as always. N4LQ, this is WA4FJQ.
All right, very good. WA4FJQ, N4LQ. Well, we're going to try to burn up an hour and make it at least till 5 o'clock and listen for any more check-ins. In the meantime, we'll check right now and see if anybody wants to check in. Give us a call. All right, well, didn't hear anybody. That was interesting. You know, I heard Glenn say he was running an FTDX10, and it kind of made me wonder where they got the F. You know, ICOM, those are all IC this and IC 7300 and so forth. It kind of makes sense to use an I. Kenwood, they used to be Trio originally, so everything's T. They had TRs and TSs, receivers and transmitters and things. And then you got Yaesu with the F. And I looked it up on AI. They don't have any idea where they got that F. They used to have one called MP, the FT1000MP, and that was the suffix of the founder's call sign, JA1MP or something like that. Yeah, so I suspect that they chose F for somebody's name or whatever, but I'd love to know what. I really don't care. Anyway, and real fine on the luncheon. I enjoyed that, as always. The chicken livers were especially plentiful and crisp, and there were plenty left for several reasons. Kind of missed John, that he wasn't with us, and we always have a good conversation, but I had Gary with me, and he filled me in on a lot of things. You need to talk to him sometime about his house. That house that he's got is a beautiful house on the lake, and it was a modular home that was brought in on big semi-trucks and put together using big cranes and things. It's very unusual. He bought it from some outfit up in Pennsylvania, and we talked about all the details involved in putting together a modular house like that, and how in some ways they should be better built than a typical stick house. But anyway, thought that was interesting. And Cliff, sorry to hear about your cold you picked up there from somebody. Let's see. High of 27, Dave. That's really amazing. You are 20 over, and Mir was 20 over. Brian's 10 over. Cliff 20 over. John is 24 over. N4AK Glenn's only 7 plus 7. Charlie was 20, and Tom was 20. Boy, everybody's got the big 20 over 9 signal today, except for Glenn. Must be that G5 RV. That's all I can figure. You can usually do better than that. So let's see. Maybe you need to switch over to the NFED half wave. So let's see. Glad the Amico here is putting out okay. And I wonder if you see meter flop there. I don't think you're going to see too much of it because it's sitting right at 101%. Yeah, about 101%, and there I turn it up a little bit. It's up to 114 now, modulation, but nothing excessive. So anyway, let's do another round and see if we can come up with some hot topics. WA4LLR, it's N4LQ.
Okay. N4LQ and the group WA4LLR. Well, Steve, you're 40 over up here on this big S meter. I think it may be just a little liberal, but Brian's 30 over. His GRC 9 is doing a bodacious job up this way. And everybody is 20 or 30, except Glenn, and he's about S9, somewhere in that ballpark. S9 to maybe 10 over. And the Amico does sound good. Let's see here. Cliff, sorry to hear about the cold. We wondered where you were, and hate that you missed both meals. And the BC610 sounded great as always. John, great that you saw Marvin. Glad he's doing okay. They missed seeing him. Let's see what else is going on. Gary was giving away a bunch of stuff, and several folks carried things away. I ended up getting an RX noise bridge and a project box, new foot switch, coax crimpers, and a 10-amp power supply to add to the pile of junk here in the shack. Oh, mercy. Anyway, let's see here. What else is going on? Space weather is fairly active. Early this morning, about 4 o'clock, we had an X-class solar flare. Things have quietened down. Current sunspot number is 107. Solar flux index is 172, and the K has calmed down to 1. They're saying CME from that flare will probably hit the 11th or 12th. A few items from this day in history. Let's see here what's going on. On this day in 1989, the East German government began opening the Berlin Wall. My wife I was over there in 1970, and my wife and I together were over there in 1971, and we visited the wall. I went through Checkpoint Charlie, and we saw the families on the observing platforms on each side waving to each other. Tough situation. And I remember the night they started breaking it down, watching people tear it down with sledgehammers. It was a moving experience. Let's see what else. On this day in 1934, Carl Sagan was born. We all know who he was, I think. On this day in 1985, Garry Kasparov became the youngest male chess champion in the world at 22 years old. On this day in 1938, Kristallnacht, or Crystal Night, Night of the Broken Glass, took place in Germany and Austria, where Nazi forces vandalized Jewish synagogues and businesses and so on and so forth. On this day in 1923, Hitler's beer hall putsch ended. And on this day in 1922, Albert Einstein was named the Nobel Prize winner in physics for his explanation of the photoelectric effect. So that's a few things from this day in history. So, Mir, down to you and your good sounding Yaesu station. WF2U, WA4LLR.
Yeah, Roger, WA4LLR and the net. This is WF2U. Everybody's sounding pretty good. Thanks, Steve. And, well, this antenna certainly works better than my temporary dipole that I hung up about, what was it, about 8 feet, 8 feet over ground as inverted V, so it was really an NVIS kind of antenna, even not very efficient at that either. So now I'm back to the original kind of stuff that I did. So let's Dave, you are 15 over 9 still, nice and steady. Brian, a little QSB on you because your signal went from S7 to 5 dB plus 9. I mean 9 plus 5. I wanted to say pretty deep QSB on you, but you sound good. Sound just like a GRC9 should sound, and mine sounds the same way. Cliff 10 over 9 with a little QSB. John, you were very strong. 20 dB over 9. Glenn, some QSB between S7 to 9. Charlie, 15 over S9, and Tom, S9, good 5 and 9. The noise level is relatively low. Nothing much here, did some outside work again. Tomorrow afternoon I'll have to start covering all my outside faucets with that winter covers. And here 28 degrees are expected for a short period just before sunup on Tuesday. So that's from here. So back at you, Brian, there. KN4R in the group, WF2U.
Okay, Mayor, very good. WF2U in the group. KN4R returning. All right. Well, I'm copying everybody just fine here, and everybody sounds really good. Great on the luncheon. Sorry I missed it. And Dave, I just wanted to say, you that picture on Facebook with you or Verbena and Willie Stars, I believe. So, and thanks for the signal report. So, anyway, I don't have much more, but I'll hang in until the end. Might even make it to the 5 o'clock hour. You never know. So, back to Cliff. WB4NK on the group. KN4R.
KN4R, it's WB4NKL. Good deal all the way around. A good copy. And the wind's continuing to blow pretty good out here and dropped another degree or two. So it's going to be a chilly time here, I think. The cold, me and the wife both came down with it. She came down with it maybe the day before, Wednesday night, and I was starting to get some drips there by Thursday morning, and so we both hadn't been anywhere except that wedding we went to last Saturday, and I think that's where we probably picked it up. I should have been at the Ham Fest down in Lawrenceville. Probably wouldn't have got it. That's what I tell her anyway. So maybe I'll get out of the next wedding. Let's see. Worked on leaves here yesterday, and put the hoses up like everybody else. Rolled up a couple and hung them up for the winter. And I got about, I take a big tarp, I got a 12 by 12 and rake it full of leaves and hook it up to the tractor and drag them over to the garden and use them for mulch in there. So I got most of them up yesterday, but looks like I got another bunch of them that's come down with the wind here today, so I've still got that job ahead of me. I'll send it on around. Maybe we can stretch it till 5. Go ahead, John. K1VVC, WB4NKL.
Well, if John was here, we'd definitely be able to stretch it to 5. WB4NKL, K1VVC. Yeah, I definitely missed you at Lawrenceville. It was okay. I'm going to say it was maybe 75% of what it was last year. But still, it was a pretty good turnout. Had a lot of fun and got together with Chuck and a whole bunch of guys from your area. Went out to a real nice Chinese buffet for dinner. So definitely missed you there. By the way, I'm running a modern radio today, the Yaesu FTDX 5000 and my old Dentron MLA 2500B, which is over 50 years old, so it is pretty old. And Dave, one thing that I have a factoid that comes up on my computer every day, so I should probably send it to you earlier in the day by email. Today is Go to an Art Museum Day. Not that that affects any of us, but that's the official day. Over to you, Glenn. Everybody's sounding real fine here today. Good signals. N4AK, K1VVC.
Okay, John, K1VVC, N4AK. Are you copying me okay? I changed over to an end-fed antenna, which may be more directional. So, John, you copy?
Yeah, I'd say over here your signal was a little bit stronger, but it still sounds fine. It's still a good, strong signal.
Okay, well, I'm about 100, 110 watts, so Steve kind of make a note of that, and usually it points up towards Dave pretty well. But anyway, I changed it just for the heck of it. Remember, this is Veterans Week. There's a lot of veterans, and some of us had to shoo mosquitoes away in Vietnam. Some remembrances here for us, especially for us, Charlie. Dick Day, N4YBL, passed away in 2012, at the end of October 2012. He was a character. And another fella that we all knew passed away on 10 November in 2021. That's Joe Galt, Master of Ceremonies at so many of these things. And then in 2020, I believe it was, WA4BVW, who maintained the repeater for many, many years. So just some remembrances, some old fellas here that were part of our group. So anyway, changed the antenna, so still running about 110 watts. W4MEC N4AK.
Okay, Glenn, N4AK. In the group, W4MEC. Well, everybody here is 20 to 40 over on this SX100 meter. It's very generous. So as opposed to the TS2000, it's so stingy that nobody very seldom breaks S10 over on that thing. But on this 100, it's easy to run up the scale there. So let's see, modular homes. Yeah, well, since we're going to stretch this out, so got to have an old buzzer transmission. There's a modular home maker right here off of I-26 in South Carolina. I actually took a tour there to see how they did it, and I was sort of impressed about it, and the concept makes a lot of sense, the way they build them in there. And as long as you can get them to where they're going in one piece, everything is hunky-dory. A modular home came down my road here, and they brought it up on a hill, they had a remote control radio operated bulldozer. And they would hook it to each half of that thing and drag it up the hill. I thought that was interesting, but they were on a learning curve of how to get this, the first section up a pretty steep driveway and with an S-curve in it off a one-lane road. So it was quite the project, and the first half they got it in there and it twisted, and me and a neighbor of mine and I think my son was out there with us, and we were just watching, kind of fascinated by that radio-controlled bulldozer. You know, it didn't have a cab on it. It was just, looked like a regular bulldozer with no place for an operator to sit. Big old thing. And we were watching that thing, and they were trying to get that half of that modular home up there, and about halfway, it twisted because the ground was uneven, and we heard a giant kaboom. And something broke in that modular home. And they succeeded in getting it up the hill. And in the second half, they got it up there without anything. I think they learned their lesson. But it took them a while to get the thing set up. And about a week later, a big old Lowe's truck came up and went up the hill there. And he had sheetrock and 2x lumber, like 2x10s, and all kinds of stuff. So whatever that kaboom was, they broke something major inside of that house, you know. And seeing how they built them down there at the factory, I guess it was one of the major floor joists. I guess it's not a joist, but one of the major beams that ran front to back that the floor joists were attached to and stuff like that. So the way it sounded like a big old piece of lumber being broken in a pretty dramatic fashion there. So, but they've been in that house several years, and the other thing about where they put it was on the top of a rock. And you know, the Bible tells you to build your house on a rock, not on the sand. Well, when they were making the foundation to get that house up there, we're talking jackhammers and track hoes with the big old jackhammer on the end, and they put it up there on a rock, and they basically carved the top of that rock so it would have a flat spot to mount this thing on. And I think I watched them a little bit, and they shot the foundation, you know, with level transit and all that, and they did concrete block, and they just took the concrete block, the mortar mix and all that, and they just concrete block right to the rock. So I don't know their biblical standing, but that house is definitely one built on a rock. So, and from one end to the other. So it's kind of where they are. It's kind of a batholith, you know, which is where an old volcano completely cooled down to nothing, and over the years everything wore down, and all you got left is this giant chunk of granite. That's about what it is. And that's sort of the reason they haven't widened this road, because it comes right to the edge of the road, and they were sort of worried about breaking people's wells and stuff like that. So they haven't tried to widen the road any and pave it. So, but oh well, it's a firm foundation. Yeah, old Uncle Dick, Dick Day, in for YVL. You're right. He was quite the character. And if he would have listened to his sister and everybody else in the Durham area and gone to the hospital right off the bat, he'd still be with us. But his head was pretty hard about that. And, you know, he grew up his entire life dealing with issues with his lungs, and he handled it quite well. But when it hit him in the 60s there, I don't know what the deal was, why he didn't react better. But it got him, and it caught him, and it killed him. So that same thing he fought his whole life there. But a great piano player, a great guitar player, and a great skeet and trap shooter, excellent skeet and trap shooter. And when he went through the Marine Corps, he was the last class to go through CW training, code training. He was the last group. And after that, I guess everything was lower sideband. So all right, I dragged it out long enough to see if we could make it till 5. WA4FJQ in the group W4MEC.
W4MEC, this is WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Charlie. Yeah, You're very strong up here today, and usually you're down around S5, S7, but you're doing quite well. So whatever that new antenna you put up, or the old antenna, it's doing a good job. And Glenn, you're much better on that infed. I can copy you with no trouble at all, and I couldn't copy you at all before. Brian, there's a lot of QSB on your signal, but can copy, fairly well. That's about all I've got to say, and I'm going to check out 73s to everybody. I got a little bit of a cooking chore coming up ahead of me here, and it takes a little while to get it all together. So 73s to everybody. Thanks for calling the net, Steve, and hopefully we'll be back next Sunday. Turn it back to you, N4LQ. This is WA4FJQ.
Oh, wait a minute. You can't leave until you're dismissed. All right, Tom. Thanks a lot for checking in, and you hit 23 over 9 so far, the strongest signal. And I think the band is getting a little better, but this is N4LQ. Do we have any more check-ins? All right, well, I'll try to cover as much as I can here. I take notes, and some people do, some don't, but if I didn't, I'd never remember anything. And I've got down here that the modular homes, the blocks on a rock. Yeah, that reminds me of one of the houses we built up in Kentucky. We didn't have any trouble at all digging the footer for the basement and everything. And then after that, they started on the septic tank, and picked out the best place for it. Well, he came down with that backhoe and hit a rock, and he drug across that rock, and there were sparks and smoke and hawks and everything else, squeaks. He said, well, he'll try and move a little farther down, so he went down the hill a little bit. They hit another one. It just kept doing it. Oh, what a mess. He looked, and we couldn't find any place to put that septic tank. So we had to go down the hill and set the tank on the rock and fill around it, and sort of made a new hill out of some dirt they put around it. And the leach lines weren't very deep. Anyway, needless to say, we had some surface creep on the effluent, as it were. But fortunately, we had what they call those things, cracks in the ground where the sinkholes, sinkholes. And I tapped into the pump. The tank had a pump in it, and I ran the output of that pump into the nearest sinkhole, and it disappeared, and we never had any more trouble after that. So I don't know where it was going, and didn't care. Probably still that way. But Gary's house is really interesting. He's got a full basement, and they actually shipped in the basement walls. They were some kind of precast concrete. It doesn't sound like the concrete was real thick, maybe 4 inches or 6 inches. And it's got foam on one or both sides. It was big panels, and they stood that up on the gravel, on the floor. They actually did the floor first over gravel, and they didn't put a footer in, which I thought was interesting, and they set the wall on top of that. And the back of the house was a walkout, so they just framed it up and put siding on it. So some more interesting features. He did say he had some trouble with some waviness in the walls in the sheetrock. I said, how in the world can that happen when they build these things on a frame or on the floor? He said, yeah. He said they lay it out on the floor of the factory and put it all together, but yet they come up with waviness, and they had to use mortar to fill in the gaps there and take out some of the curves. Well, let's see. So Glenn, your signal came up to, let's see, you were originally right at 7/9, and you came up to 18 over. So just about 10 dBs difference. You're always stronger on that in-fed, on the half wave, in-fed. It probably wouldn't make any difference where it was fed. You'd still be stronger. The G5RV will do okay as long as you don't have much coax, because the SWR can get pretty high. You can actually lose quite a bit of power in that coax. Otherwise, I think G5RVs are okay. And let's see, somebody, it was John mentioned going to an art museum, or is that what you said? Boy, I tell you, that would be that would be way down on my list. That would bore me to death. Anyway, Cliff, okay on getting a cold at the wedding. Yeah, you know, weddings tend to be a little stretched out sometime, and a little boring, I think, especially when everybody has to get up and sing a song or something. But it's a good place to get a cold, I guess, unfortunately. Last wedding I went to was my grandson's, and it was outside. So maybe that's a good idea. Now here's an interesting situation. I've been having trouble with my key fob since the day we got this Hyundai. I set it off. You know, I'll bend over and something will hit it in my pocket. It'll lock the doors, and it'll unlock the doors. It'll honk the horn, set off the emergency warning and everything else. And I started doing some research on that, and that's a widespread complaint about a lot of key fobs. And I always carry a couple of key fobs and my knife and so forth in my right pocket, and I've been trying to figure out what to do about it. I looked on Amazon and some little leather cases and cloth cases, and none of them are going to stop that button. The problem is the buttons are flush with the surface of the key fob, and they really should be recessed a little bit so things don't set it off unless you deliberately want to do it. I hardly ever use it. Don't really need it much, because when you get near the car, it knows that, so I have to have it. And it'll unlock the doors for me and let me get in if I'm just close to it. So, anyway, in Gary's free stuff, I picked up a inverter, 12-volt inverter, 400-watt thing, and I don't know, I'll find some use for it maybe, but I looked those things up on Amazon, and you know, they've got them up to 6,000 watts, something like that. 48-volt in, 6,000 watts out. Some of them go up as high as $25,000. But these little cheap ones now, you can pick them up for about $20 on Amazon. It's amazing. Anyway, it looks like a good product to have around, just in case. I've got a battery here I can use in case the power goes off. Let's see. I guess that's about it. I'll turn it over to Dave. Give us some exciting conversation there, Dave. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Well, I don't know if I've got any exciting conversation in me, but I'll give it a shot. Let's see here. 7-3 to Tom. He had a good signal down here. John, you're a factoid. This is the day to go to an ART museum. I think that's an awesome idea. I'd like to go and look at all the ARTs like mine and see what kind of variations people have come up with. So yeah, man, that's a great idea. Go to an ART museum. ART 13s, and who knows what else might be there. Glenn talking about, by the way, you jumped up to 30 over on the end-fed. Talking about folks that we're missing, Dick Day and Joe and Ken. Yeah, I've got I've got Dick's BC610 and the speech modulator, speech amplifier. I've got one of Joe's microphones. I've got Ken's ART13. Yep, I like to hang on to stuff that help me remember those guys. I don't like to forget folks. I've got several pieces of equipment that came from different silent keys. And we sure miss those fellas. Let's see, then continuing my, I don't know what you'd call it, my monitoring of ground current. And Steve, I was out there the other day and I picked up a multimeter that has frequency measurement on it. And of course I went out there and hooked it to the array, and what do I have, 60 cycle. So I guess the majority of it is coming from the power grid somehow. The thing I don't understand, I've got my ground rods spaced 100 feet apart and 50 feet of wire on each, and I measure the current at the center point like you would a dipole antenna. And it's over 100 yards away from a power line. And I picked the system up and I moved it over to under the power line, reinstalled the ground rods, oriented exactly the same way, and had hardly any current. I mean, maybe a microamp. I move it back 100 and whatever yards away where I had it before, and it jumps up to 40, sometimes bumping up to 50 microamps. So I'm still scratching my head. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, it keeps me off the streets and out of the bars, Anyway, let's see here. What else have I got that I can old buzzard about? Let's see. We had to do a funeral for Irvina's brother-in-law yesterday. We had a reunion at the retreat center last night. Some folks that had been members of the church that relocated to Florida, Georgia, and some other places came up and had a good time with them, then had good church service this morning, and a meal afterwards for the veterans. So that's pretty much what's going on here, and that's about as old buzzard as I can get. So, Mayor, here it comes. WF2U, WA4LLR.
Yeah, very good, Dave. WA4LLR and the group, WF2U. Pretty good signals all around. And, yeah, Glenn, your signal improved a lot with the other antenna. And you were hitting S9 plus, no problems. And otherwise, I don't have anything interesting. I've been still busy cleaning from last year's hurricane. All around the pastures and everything, we're still picking up and chopping down broken trees and things like that, because, of course, just after the hurricane was when I had my bilateral knee surgery, so I was out of the working force here for several months, and then I had my back problems and the back surgery, and after that I went back to getting back to the tree chopping mode and picking up stuff. So I spend like 2-3 hours a day with that. In January, I would be allowed to pick up stuff heavier than 50 pounds, and then my shack is going to undergoing a pretty big reorganization and cleanup of stuff that I haven't been doing for the whole year. I have stuff on the floor, all kinds of sundry parts, boxes, and things like that. and I have to catch up with that also. A nice winter project. I have a heater here, and the air conditioning that I installed here is working very nice in the heater mode also. Plus I have a garage heater just in case I need it. So I'll make myself busy here in the winter. So with that, I see it's getting pretty close to 5 o'clock. It's going to be dog feeding time. So I'll say 73 to all. I'll be staying here until the end of the net, listening and ready to transmit in case I'm needed for some reason. But I might as well just say my 73s and have a good week, everybody. And take care and keep warm. So, Brian, go ahead. KN4R and the group. This is WFTU 73, and Steve, thanks for running the net. Go ahead, Brian.
And I think conditions are getting better. So I'm going to go ahead and say 73. I've enjoyed it. You guys carry on, and I hope to hear you on Tuesday, if not sooner. So 73s, and WB4NKL in the group, KN4R. See ya.
KN4R, WB4NKL. Okay, Brian, 73s, and I think we've about made it to 5. Time it gets back around to Steve, up these late cameras, they should be around. Glenn, your signal's stronger at my location here also, so I think your infed's getting a lot of votes there, sounds like. And I was trying to, Dave was talking about the equipment he got from other hams, and remember Jim K4DEE, I got a Globe King he was working on through Richard. Richard got it, and I got it, and also got a amplifier that came from Jim, I can't remember the brand of it now, it's 48572 amp, Dentron. So remember him too. And with that, I guess I'll make this my last one also. And I still got some congestion going on. I guess you can hear. So say 73s, and thanks for calling, Steve. Go ahead, John, K1VVC, WB4NKL.
Yeah, very good, Cliff. WB4NKL in the group, K1VVC. Yeah, looking back, probably 15 years that I've been on this net, maybe it's longer than that. All the people that have passed on, my gosh, it's just kind of hard to believe. And there's some wonderful, wonderful friends that we all had here and all enjoyed having lunch with. And now we still enjoy the lunch, but certainly miss all of our old friends. And it's been good getting on at 4 o'clock today. I've enjoyed it, and I hope, I'm sure everybody else will come around. I sort of thought maybe more people would have seen all the emails that went out today, but I'm sure by next week it'll straighten itself out. So with that, Glenn, let me turn it over to you. N4AK, K1VVC.
Okay, John, K1VVC in the group, November 4, Alpha Kilo. Well, the sun just popped out here through the clouds, and it's really showing off all the leaves in the woods. It's a low-angle sun now. Oh, it's just beautiful. I think I must live in paradise here. Temperature is going down since the net. We started at 66 degrees. It's now 62, wind still blowing. I think we're supposed to have only 30 in the morning. Not too bad. Interesting about the art museum. Somebody started off the conversation about the information on the art museum, John. John, let's see, Walton the Walmart Walton's daughter, every one of them are billionaires, every kid, both boys and this daughter, she decided to spend $1 billion in putting a free art museum in Bentonville, Arkansas, population 50,000, and it would be free forever. And that was nice. And she, of course, used a lot of that money to buy some nice art. Just noticed in the newspaper where Denny's, which has its headquarters in Spartanburg, South Carolina, that they were in California. They moved to Spartanburg in 1991. They're beginning to have some problems, and they're up for sale. So anyway, I guess I don't know how many people they employ, but I think they still have about 1,200 or 1,300 restaurants. So much for that. So in another minute, it's 5 o'clock. So W4MEC, N4AK.
Okay, Glenn, N4AK, W4MEC, real good. Yeah, I heard a couple tuner-uppers. I heard woof woof there from John. So he'll probably check in. We're going to run a little late, John, so hold on. Let's see. You know, it's funny. The last two, because Cliff caught that cold at that wedding. The last two weddings that I've been dragged to by my wife, well, the only reason I go is for the cake, to be honest with you. And the last two weddings, they never cut that cake. I mean, it just went on, like someone mentioned about singing and all this falderall they do, you know. And my wife and I just gave up and left. And we checked later and talked to some people that went the whole route and they said they never cut the cake. And what in the world are you going to bring a man to a wedding for if you're not going to give him a piece of cake? So I'm a little leery. So and I've got Dick Day's HQ129X here that I run with the ART-13. And that's the one he transmitted into, and I fixed it for him. And it's still going strong. The walls, Gary's house there in the basement, Carl, W4RCW, that's the way they did his walls. All precast, and they put them in place. And when you look at them, like his basement floor is a couple inches short of touching those walls, and it's totally there's a word for it when it's totally separate from everything. It's holding the house up, of course, but the foundation is totally separate from the basement floor. And right up to the edge. Of course, it's all waterproof and all that, but it's not attached. There's like 2 inches of gravel or something around the perimeter. And he seems to like it a lot there. And I had another note there about the museum and $1 billion. I tell you what, I do not think much of that woman at all. And she's wealthy because she's got a name. And if she wanted to do anything, she could give that $1 billion to the people that work in Walmart. And I tell you, they got a slave operation going there. There's nobody in there there's no living wage for anybody. Maybe the manager, but there's no living wage made by anybody in those stores. And they could break some of that money free for that. And my last comment about I did a little research on that guy up in the socialists they got running New York City wants to make the buses free, and I looked up into that, and actually the whole system sort of belongs to the state, and the governor of the state is actually at the top of the food chain on that whole bus system. And the reason that they're in charge is because the city couldn't afford it, and they gave it more or less to let the state manage and give them money and all that. They actually have a $47 billion debt, basically in things like pensions and health care and all that stuff. And that fellow up there thinks he's going to have people ride the buses for free. I don't think so. We'll see how that works out. So Tom bailed on us to go cook, and I hope he brings some to the meeting so we can share it. And I will send it back to Steve here and let him catch the latecomers, or actually the on-time folks that didn't get the last-minute email there. And N4LQ, W4MEC.
All right, W4MEC, N4LQ, very good. All right, so Yeah, like wasn't Margaret Thatcher said that the problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. Let's see who we've got coming in here at 5 o'clock. Go ahead and check in. This is N4LQ.
KZ4 Bravo here.
WB4ARK. WA4EVK.
All right. All right. Let's see. I sent you a text message, John and Boone both, plus the emails. I tried, but I guess neither one of those worked. And buddy, I didn't have your text phone number there, so I didn't. But we did send the email out. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll get it done one way or the other, and it's 5 o'clock, the usual time, and we'll go ahead and go around with you guys at least once more. And I think, let's see, Dave is probably still here. But let's see what Dave, if you want to stay or if you want to check out, that's fine. WA4LLR, take it away.
Okay, I'll hang in here for one more. Quick question. Let's see. Do I give it to who's left? K1VVC or who?
Yeah, that John is next, and I think Glenn's probably still here, and so is Charlie.
All right, good enough. Okay, N4LQ, WA4LLR. And good afternoon or evening to John and to Buddy and to Boone. Email got sent out kind of last minute about shifting the net time from 5 back to 4. So anyhow, we've had a good turnout so far. I'm glad you guys got in here with us. Sorry you didn't get the text or email. I'm thinking about, Glenn, you were mentioning folks that have passed on recently, and we've got Fritz, we've got Ray, and of course K4BWD. I don't know, there's, like John said, there's been so many, hard to believe, but good memories, and I'm glad we're keeping that memory alive, we're keeping some of their equipment still going. Anyway, let's see, what else? Not a whole lot more here. Got my fingers crossed that we're not going to get the snow that they're prognosticating. My wife has her fingers crossed that we will. So one of us is going to be pleased. It's a turkey shoot to figure out which one. Anyway, let's see. John, here it comes down to you. K1VVC, WA4LLR.
I guess he's gone. Go ahead, Glenn.
Okay, and this is N4AK, and welcome to the latecomers. It's been a very good net this afternoon, so everybody kind of had extended remarks, which were kind of fun. But I'll pass along my 7.3s on this one, but listen to the end. And thanks, Steve, for doing the net for us. So, Charlie, to you, W4MEC, N4AK.
Okay, Glenn, N4AK in the group, W4MEC. Hello, John and Buddy, it's Boone. Yeah, this is kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. The question got raised this morning in an email about maybe think about what's an idea. Anybody think about moving back to 4, and it turned out a lot of people like that idea. So we decided to get here at 4 and keep talking until 5 at least. So we've been doing our best to make some old buzzard transmissions here and make it till 5 o'clock. So I guess we have succeeded, talking slow and talking long. So I'm gonna send it to you, John, and you turn it over to Buddy, and Buddy to Boone, and back to Steve, and see how much farther we get to go here. KZ4B in the group, W4MEC.
KZ4B, go ahead.
Okay, I'm having trouble hearing Charlie. I hope I don't have an antenna problem. Obviously, I didn't get the message that the net starts at 4 o'clock on Sundays now. I'm always a day late and $1 short. I wanted to give a heads up that Black Friday is starting already. Lowe's has some deals. Remember I mentioned that it took me hours to install my wife's stove because I didn't have the right saw to cut the notch out to put the saw in. It was a backboard behind the old stove, and I couldn't get all the way to the wall. Well, I bought the saw that I needed. Actually, it's a side grinder, an angle grinder, and it's $130. And if you buy a $120 2 4-amp-hour battery pack, plus which is a hell of a deal all by itself, they will give you a $130 a choice of
Yeah, I don't know. It's something wrong on that end. John, are you still there? Yeah, you just kind of faded away. All right, so John says there's a Black Friday going on at Lowe's. I've been having trouble with their website using Chrome, but it works okay on Microsoft Edge. I'm not sure why that is. Anyway, buddy, go ahead and take it away, WB4ARK, N4LQ. Buddy, are you there? All right, Boone, are you there?
N4LQ, WA4EVK. Yeah, I think I missed some probably good discussions, but that's the way it is. I do not do much checking my email when I'm not around here at the house on my cell phone, so I missed it. Been kind of busy, made sure I got home in time for the net, and the net had moved on me. Oh well, y'all are still here. That's the way it is. Steve, I've got one of the Drake TR4s, TR4X's out on the bench, so maybe tomorrow or the next day we can test that AM modulation. And I'm going to send it back to Steve. Not sure who comes after me. N4LQ, WA4EVK.
Okay, did you say TR4X?
No, T4X. Sorry about it. T4XB.
Good. Okay. Well, yeah, I was hoping you'd do that so we can find out if that's a decent mod. Let me try. John, KZ4B, are you back? I don't know what happened. He just fizzled out. And buddy, WB4ARK, are you there? Huh, okay. All right, well, I guess that's about it then. Let's see if anybody else wants to do a 73 here. WA4LLR is still here, I think, and Charlie's still here, and I guess, and Boone and me, that's about it. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Okay, I believe I heard Bruce come in there.
Yeah, go ahead. No, don't go ahead.
Steve.
Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, sorry, I was late. N4WD. Yeah, I was out at the farm, and we just got back in. Had to take my boots off and just turned the radio on. Still heard y'all talking. We'll say the best to everybody, though, for the rest of the day and the week to come. They say we might get some snow flurries. I think the high tomorrow is 33, and the low tonight 25, and 28 tomorrow night. So, it's a fall time, winter coming. Let's see, who was it? WA4? No, let's see. Steve had it, and you gave it to... Let's give it back to Steve, and you can turn it back over to W4L.
All right, I don't think Dave was done. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, no problem. Hey, Bruce, good to hear you. We've been missing you on the early net, 7 o'clock. Maybe you don't get up that early on 3885. But if you do, we'd like to have you join us. Anyway, you've got a heat wave down there. Our temperature tomorrow night is supposed to be 18 and a high of about 28. So it's going to be chilly. Steve, thanks for calling. Hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend. Lord willing, we'll catch up with you on Tuesday. So I'll say 7-3, God bless, and hope John's radio didn't fry. So who am I sending it to, Charlie? W4MEC, WA4LLR, 7-3.
Okay, WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC. Real good, and succeeded in stretching it out to catch the stragglers there, or the normal folks, but anyway, we did it. We'll see y'all maybe tonight on 64, and for sure Tuesday morning. Good to hear you, Bruce. Good signal here. Glad you made it here. So next week, next Sunday, everybody think about 4 o'clock and 7-3. Let's see, KZ4B, if you're copying, your transmitter was going great, and then the audio kind of went kaflooey, and then the transmitter went kaflooey, so I don't know if you sorted it out yet or not, but you were doing great there for a minute. KZ4B in the group, W4MEC.
Yeah, I think John blew a fuse there. All right. And let's see, buddy, are you back? Yeah, okay. And Boone, yeah, of course the email went out early this afternoon, and I texted you, but I thought, well, he probably won't get that because you don't usually get my phone calls either. So anyway, we tried, but glad you got back on here anyway with us, and I think with your transmission, that'll probably be the end of it for the day. WA4EVK, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the group, WA4EVK. Well, fine business, not a problem. I just tend to stay away from my cell phone when I'm not at the house on the weekend, or actually after so many years being a slave to it, I tend to stay away from it anyway. So 73s, everybody, and hope to see a good many of you on 1864 after a while, and we'll go from there. WA4EVK will be clear.
All right, very good. Thanks everybody for checking in. 73s, and we'll see you tonight. Probably going to be a little static, I don't know, and if not tonight, then we'll see you Tuesday morning. This is N4LQ closing the Old Friends Net.